Howdy folks, Little John in the brewery. First brew of 2021, and I'm in need of getting stocks up. I've just about run out of home brew, which is a very unusual thing for Little John, but anyway, that's not what we're here for. But anyway, it's continuing with our theme. I've got plenty of kit brews coming this year. I've discussed on videos leading into Christmas. We're doing plenty of kit brews, different brands, different styles, and sticking to fairly basic methods. So mainly malts and a bit of malt and sugar, a little bit of hops, maybe some grain steeping here and there for flavour, but going to keep it very simple, particularly for the for newer guys out there that are just getting started. I'm trying to work out which kits work the best, which ones are coming out nice, and best ways of knocking them out. So, and obviously through other brews, with some extract and bits and partial mash brews and stuff like that coming, obviously on top of the normal, Little John's all grain brews. So there's going to be a lot for, hopefully, for all kinds of brewers, working, whether it's new guys or just kit brewers, but anyone looking to maybe work their way up and get something a little bit more, a bit better beers or something with a little bit more effort, hands-on stuff. But anyway, let's get today's batch underway. See over here, I've got 2 litres of water on the pot, just warming up. Before we get going, big shout out to all the patrons of Little John's. Cheers guys, your support is much appreciated. Hope you all enjoy your little New Year present that you got. If you're interested in what Patreon's about, there's a link down the bottom. Click on that, see what it's about. For a couple of dollars a month, you help out Little John, keep the channel moving, and there's bonuses to come along with it along the way. Anyway, and if you've not subscribed to Little John, hit the subscribe button down the bottom there and come along for the ride. And as we go, if you're liking what's going on, hit the like button down there as well, because that helps. But anyway, what we're doing today is this fella, Morgan's Blue Mountain Lager. Now this is one I've actually, when back in my kit days and I was getting back with the kits, this is one I always wanted to do, and because I was restricted with what I could get locally, and I was avoiding paying money for kit cans coming in and stuff, I never got around to doing it. So I'm actually a little bit keen to do this one. I'm very interested, because back in the day this used to get a lot of good raps as far as kits go. So I am interested to see how this fella goes. Now, I'm doing this one, I said fairly simple. I'm going to use 1 kilo of Light Dry Malt, half a kilo of Dextrose. I'm going to do a little bit of a boil, just a short boil with some Citra. And that's it. Nice and simple. So I'm looking for a brew somewhere in the high 4% on the keg, so you'd be looking at maybe a 5.2% beer if you're bottling, which is allowed for your primary sugars. So if that is your thing, if you are a bottler, then I would suggest maybe with this brew pulling back maybe 150 grams of each of the malt and the dextrose, just to bring that back down to where you're bottling at about 4.7, 4.8%. Okay. Now I'm just going to quickly get some water. I've got about 2 litres of water over here, and I was going to get about 200 grams of Light Dry Malt into that, because this is going to be our malt for a hot boil. So I'm going to hide here for a minute. There's about 200 grams of malt. I'll get that in there so we can start to dissolve up. Get my spoon. Alright, so that's going to make a bit of noise in the background, so I apologise for that, but anyway. Now, anyone who watches the channel regularly knows that I normally do my kit brews in the house. Family's still here, I've still got the daughter and her partner and the little grandson in the house, so doing this inside just isn't going to happen. So I'm out here. So normally at this point I would have this tin in the kitchen sink soaking in some hot water. I haven't worried about it today. I'll just battle on with getting it out of the tin as we go. So that's all good. So while that continues to come up to a boil, let's just run through what I'm going to do here. So it's not Little John if we're not doing a split batch, truly. So yes, this batch will get split. So I'm gonna batch this up to 24 litres, and then I will split that two ways. Well, actually, I might have misgone. Oh no, I will calculate to 24. So we'll go to 24 litres. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to split this batch. I'm going to put half into the all-rounder and ferment under pressure with 3470, W3470, Saf lager yeast. Because there's a lot of reports with the pressure ferment that you can do lager temps or any ferment at a higher temp without any ill effects or any yeast esters or flavours. So that's going to go into the all-rounder, and the other half will get a BRY 97. Those who don't know it, that's basically it's just a typical American ale yeast, very similar to USA 5. I actually done a comparison between the BRY 97 and USA 5. I'll pop a link up to that. I'm going to go back and have a look at that one. But it's a nice yeast. It's fairly clean like USA 5. It's a West Coast American. So I'm going to do half with that, and I'm going to do them at 15 degrees. Now I can get both of these into the fridge and fit the all-rounder and one of my little 15 litre fermenters, so that's all good. So 15 degrees, so it's going to push the lager yeast a little bit, but while still keeping the ale yeast down at lower temperature where it should still make a nice clean lager-like beer. And obviously we're trying to do a lager, so that's what we want. So covering both bases, covering your basic brewer who maybe not have fantastic temperature control, and also anyone who's got a pressure fermenter is looking at maybe doing things that way. So covering a few bases there. So that's what we're looking at. So fairly simple. So that's not far off a boil. So as I said, going to throw a bit of hops in. I've got some Citra. Nice new bag of Citra here, courtesy of as it often is, from Kevin Bristol at the Hopping Mechanism. Oh, Jesus, yum! They come in just before Christmas. So shout out to Kev. Thanks for that, Kev. And as always, I'll pop a link down the bottom so you can skip through and have a look at Kev. And if you're looking to buy some hops, he sells them generally in bulk amounts, larger amounts. So if you're looking to get a whack of hops and save yourself some money, Kev's definitely worth having a look at. Righto, now I'm not going for a lot of hops. I'm going for 10 grams. And Litre is going to go in the last 5 minutes of the boil. Well, not the last 5 minutes, only going to boil for 5 minutes. And by my calculations, that should get me about 2.5 IBU, which is just enough on this brew. I think I'm looking to just get a little bit of little citrus and lemony bite on the back end of this. Don't want a lot. It's a lager. Still want to keep it nice and clean, but just a little bit. So let that come to a boil. So basically, while that's boiling, we'll mix up the brew. And that'll be ready to pop in. Now, quite often you'll see me, I just throw the hops in and I'll throw the whole lot of liquid into the brew. I want to keep this one nice and clean. I really want to be able to taste the base flavour of this kit. So I want to be able to pull this bag out and just put in the actual hoppy water. I don't want the hops sitting in the brew for the whole batch. I think it'll be too strong. This tin, when I run it through some software, it's actually a bit higher hopped than most lagers are. And on the actual style reference, it's on the very upper end of the hopping level for an Australian premium lager. So I don't want to push that hoppiness too far, because I think it's just taking a risk of getting too hoppy against the malt that's here. I think the kilo of the dry malt will help to balance that a little bit, and we'll get us into a place where it's not going to be in effect. Okay, so our kit yeast, what I might do, I don't normally do this, I normally throw these away, but I'm going to throw this kit yeast into the boil. And that way we can just use that as a bit of that'll provide a little bit of nutrient for the yeast in the brew. It's going to kill it off in there, but it'll leave the cells in there for it to eat on. Works well as the nutrient, supposedly. Okay, so right, that's just coming to a boil. Get them in there. Five minutes, and we're away. Okay. And get me tin open, ready to go. Now I've got an extra, well, just a jug of hot water boiling up, so another 1.5 litres, which we can add to the pot here, just to make sure we've got a nice amount to get this mixed up. Especially because this hasn't gone into the sink of hot water either, it's going to be a bit thicker than normal. So it's just a little bit more difficult to get the mix to start with, so that'll just help. But not a necessity, and is sort of taking a chance that the initial temperature may be a little bit warm before pitching. But that's not too much of a concern. So just about to come to 5 minutes of the boil here. Righto, so we're at 5 minutes. Pop the hot bag out. Alright, get them out of the way. And now they can go straight into the fermenter. Now, fermenter has been sanitised. As has, you know, burnt stuff that's coming along to the right. So get our extract in. Pop some boiling water from the kettle into the tin just to help get everything out of there. While that's going on, we'll weigh up the rest of our malt and sugar. So we've already got 200 of malt, so we've got another 800 for our total of a kilo. And again, I'll give another shout to hopping mechanism where I get my dry malt from. Bought in bulk, 5 kilos at a go. Yep. Yeah, definitely cheaper if you can get the buy your malt in bulk a little bit cheaper, but just convenient having it all on hand and not have to worry about whether you've got enough or not. Now it's nice and hot. That tin's all cleaned out. Alright. Half a kilo, 500 grams of Dex for this mix. I just buy my Dex at normally from Big W in town, or I don't know, grab it from Woolies. Woolies doesn't always seem to have it. I've got a little bit extra, throw it all in. And we've got about 580 grams of Dex. So and I'm not going to pour this in at once, I want to just add a little bit. Because we have got that boiling, I can pump a little bit, I'll get a little bit of water, cold water in. And as always, just give it a good mix as you go. Get some aeration going on. Make sure everything's dissolved. You find your malt particularly will dissolve easier in warm water. Boiling, if you just dump it all in, you can get clumps, which do break down, but can then make it a little bit difficult to get an accurate gravity reading and stuff like that. And in this case, where I want to split the batch, I certainly don't want lumps left in there. I need it all well dissolved. Okay, so that's all our malt in. Malt, our sugar. Our hops are in there. All we need to do is just top this up. Okay, I still need another 4 litres in here to get me 24 litres. So I'll have to grab a bit more water, I'll do that. And we'll have a look at the our starting gravity. Righto, so we topped up. I've gone probably close, it's probably more 24.5 litres. Put a little extra, put extra 80 grams of Dex. Anyway, nice. She's probably still a little bit warmer than I would like, but that's all good. I can go in the fridge and wait a couple of hours before I actually pitch the yeast when I need to. And we'll get this into some fermenters. Alright, so we're dropping them over. This will help with extra splashing and some aeration. So I'm going to run about 12 litres in each fermenter. Now the colour on this is very light. And I did show on the, when I did the running through the software, it was quite light colour. And this is very light for a fresh wort. But again, have added almost 2 litres of extra water. Okay. We split these both up. So I've got a bit over 11.5 litres in the little fella. There's about 12.5, 12 3/4 of a litre in the all-rounder. Gravity samples come in at, currently sitting on, looks like about 10.45, which is exactly what we're aiming for. Might sneak up a point as these actual cool. They're still a little warm. Sitting about 25 degrees at the moment, so there won't be quite a point in that. So that's pretty close. I was looking for 10.45. So with the extra dextrose and a little bit extra water, balanced up nicely. It's come up a lot lighter than I was expecting. And was quite hoppy when I did take a bit of a taster. Not a lot, but there is a bit of hop from that boil, so I think it's going to be pushing that sort of hoppy pilsnerish side of things more so than malty lager. So, but that's all good. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to how this turns out. So, like I said, BRY 97 on this fella, W3470 on here. I'm going to rehydrate both yeasts before I pitch them. I'm probably going to let these sit out here just at ambient for about an hour or so, and then I'll pitch the yeast. Set the fridge at 15 degrees. I'm actually going to set a bottle in the fridge with the sensor in it for 15 degrees. I'm not going to run off one of these, so if they want to push to 17 or 18 degrees during the ferment, that's fine. But I'll look to keep that stable 15 in the fridge itself. I think that will be good. This fella I'll put 10 pounds of PSI on just to get at the start, and we'll leave it at 10 PSI. I won't run any higher than that. Not initially. I will crank it up probably towards the end just so I can carbonate properly. But for at least for the first 3 or 4 days of the ferment, we'll keep it down a bit lower, trying to keep that yeast under control a little bit, and using the pressure to keep the esters and things under control with that little bit extra temperature. So that's it. So as always, comments or questions, stick them down the bottom, ask away. So Patreons, subscribers, cheers guys. If you like what's happening, hit the like button. Information down the bottom for patrons if you're interested in that. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. But that's me, Little John, done. No beer to salute you with this morning. It's still like 9 o'clock in the morning. So that's me. Until I see you again, drinking beer, we're talking beer, we're brewing beer. Good brewing.